Cheers. How's everybody doing tonight?
Better now.
Good.
Hey, so I just learned that Trev is sitting there drinking soju like it's a bottle of water, and
Might as well be.
I thought I was an alcoholic.
It's that 19 Delta life, baby.
That shit's nasty. Ugh. Hey, but good evening, everybody. We are kicking with the crew. We are back. We finally have another episode of everybody being on the show, so this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Tonight, there's no game on for us to be distracted from, so you will have our full undivided attention in the comments. We're also going to do our conference championship predictions here soon. We'll probably brush through those pretty quickly because I think it's going to be fairly even across the board. I think there's only going to be one game that's kind of debatable. But we'll see. It's going to be fun because we actually didn't talk about it at all in the messages this week because the games are tomorrow and not today. So that's going to be fun. And then we'll go ahead and get into how Coach Morris is going to be our head coach. And we'll discuss and we'll start discussing who we think our OC should be at that point because it looks like Morris is the front runner. As far as I'm tracking, that man was in his interview for multiple hours.
So
straight into the evening.
him and Ichiro Iviro were both had very long interviews.
Yeah. So I'm
that's promising from where we thought everything was heading for the last. I guess I'd say about maybe 12 hours before that.
Facts. Big facts.
Now there's still the big question mark of whether Irsay is going to overrule everybody and go ahead and put Jeff in the seat long term.
I think he's going to get outvoted on that as far as
I think so
what
too.
it sounds like.
Got to be outvoted.
He's not going to make that decision by himself. He's got a board.
Yeah, I would certainly hope that's right. But I know if he had it in his perfect world, that's probably what he would do.
Facts.
Yep.
Chad's here on time today. Put in all caps in the comments. Full crew. He says Brock Purdy's going to upset Philly and KC's going to beat the Bengals. All right, well, we'll go ahead. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get into that then.
Hey, before y'all...
That kind of cut off Zach there real quick.
I was going to say, I have to apologize because, I picked the Chargers to kill the Jags.
Oh, yeah, everybody.
And I was talking mad junk on the show. Like, told y'all, blah, 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 and then magically the Chargers do what the Chargers do and collapse. So for that aspect, I apologize.
Salute to you, my guy. Most people would not be that stand up to come on and admit it the first thing in the show after it being 2 weeks later. So
he's been sitting on that one.
We appreciate it.
Big facts. So we're gonna go ahead and go into the playoff bracket. Here it is. For this week, we got the Eagles and the Niners, and then the Chiefs and the Bengals. We're gonna go ahead and talk about the Eagles and Niners first, since that's the early game. Tomorrow they play at 2:00, and then 2:00 my time. So I don't know what y'all's time is.
Yeah, 3 Eastern.
Yeah. Who you got, Zach?
1:00 my time.
To the disappointment of everybody, I'm going San Francisco, just because I don't like Philly. No offense, Matt. I know your old lady's from Philly, and you're from Philly, that whole New Jersey area. So I just think that San Francisco is a better team, the most complete team in the NFL. It's going to be a tight game. So if Philadelphia does win, it's not going to surprise me. This game is going to be so tight. It's going to come down to 1 or 2 possessions, and it's the actual first game. I truly see Brock Purdy actually struggling, hardcore.
Okay. Who you got, Coach Morris? You're muted. I can't hear you. You weren't muted. Something's up with your mic. All right, we're gonna go ahead and skip Coach Morris real quick and go to Trev. Let him fix his mic.
I just want to let you guys know, to this point, believe it or not, my playoff bracket is 100%. Got every game right so far. So go ahead and put some money down on these picks here.
I'm the same way.
I've only got one wrong so far. So
I got San Francisco winning, and I think it'll be a close game throughout, but I think they kind of pull away the fourth quarter and make it, maybe a 7 to 10 point game. I have San Francisco rolling through to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I think that defense wins championships, and that's what they're going to do tomorrow.
Okay.
Y'all got me now. Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah, we got you now. We
Loud
got you.
and clear, Coach. We hear
I'm going.
you, Coach.
I'm
know
bringing
what
the energy.
What the Army says is we got you, Lima Charlie. All right, we got you, Lima Charlie.
Y'all go ahead and stand at parade rest while I give my prediction.
I
So,
can't hear you. Your arms aren't behind your back.
well, I'm going to go 49ers. I mean, Brock Purdy threw for what? 180 yards last week.
Holy crap, is that three for
So-
the Niners?
Yeah, it's
You-
3
but
for
you-
the
but-
Niners.
You see how they're able to win when a quarterback, puts up those numbers, and that's credit to Kyle Shanahan's offense, game plan he calls to win in any situation. I think that defense is going to give Philly a lot of problems. I think the key is just to eliminate the running game and let them depend on Jalen Hurts' arm, and depend on the secondary to step up. I know they got the receivers that match up well, but you eliminate the running game early and kind of opens Pandora's box for them and send in pressure.
Okay. What about you, Damon? Or DeMarco? My bad.
Yeah, I was about to say, Coach just went.
Coach this went.
Yeah, I guess this is going to be 4 out of 4 because I got the 49ers as well, man. My breakdown will be a little bit different from Coach over there, though. I would say that this game isn't going to come down to trying to simplify anything for either team. I think if you try and focus in on the pass game for one team or the run game for one team, your team is going to fail. This game is going to come down to who turns over the ball. It's going to come down to turnovers. Whichever team makes the mistake first, it can't shorten this game and keep the short yardage. Flip the fields, play good defense, and do not turn over the ball. And I think that's what it'll come down to. But I got the Niners.
All right. So I guess myself here would be a lone wolf because I'm going Philly. And the reason I'm going Philly is because I don't think Brock Purdy is going to be able to do anything against Philly's defense. We keep talking about the Niners' defense, but Philly's defense is pretty damn good also. It's a lot better than Dallas's defense. Brock Purdy struggled against Dallas. The difference between Dallas and Philly is Philly has the offense to be able to come out on the field and score when their defense does their job.
But Dallas has a better front seven, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's fine, but they don't have the better secondary.
But
I don't even know.
Hey, I didn't interrupt y'all. Interrupt y'all.
We're debating tonight.
Hold on, you can debate after I'm done. I didn't interrupt any one of you, and I'm the only one who disagreed with you. So shut your asses up. I'm just kidding.
Coach, by the way.
I'm just kidding. But no, so yes, you're right. They do have a pretty good front seven. They probably have a better front seven than Philly does, but they don't have a better secondary than Philly does. They also don't have a better wide receiving core or a better quarterback than Philly does. So when Philly steps on the field offensively, they're going to be able to move the ball. They're better than what Dallas had. So when San Fran was able to sneak that win out last week against Dallas, they're not going to be able to sneak one against Philly.
So my rebuttal to that would be I don't think the Dallas theory is correct. I wouldn't necessarily say Dallas has a better front seven than Philly. Philly had 70 sacks. That's third.
I thought he said Niners. I thought he said Niners had the better front seven.
No, he said Philly had he said Cowboys have a better front seven than Philly.
Oh.
And I don't.
Dallas just has Parsons.
So I disagree with that front seven theory there. That's exactly what I think this game comes down to turnover.
Zach, chime in.
Philly's pass rush will be the defining X factor.
I don't think it will.
I don't think it will.
If San Francisco can block it up, and they can force one-on-ones with Kittle, because Kittle's unblockable. You can't guard Kittle. No one on the Philadelphia Eagles defense can handle Kittle.
That's
who Purdy goes.
That's not true.
That's who Purdy goes.
They got the best safety duo in the NFL right now. They got the best DBs as a group, not individually. As a group, they got the best DBs in the NFL.
I will take a tight end over a safety 10 out of 10 days.
Not me.
Every day.
I don't know about it. If that safety is leading the league in interceptions, I'd be careful.
I'll give you corners.
Look.
I'll give you corners, but I still think George Kittle is the gasoline to make that team go.
This is not corner. This is secondary. So put it this way. Philly, secondary, top 3 in the NFL.
Yes.
Their rushing defense is like 16th in the NFL. So, like I said, this game is going to come down to who gets out of their element and turns over the ball first. Philly,
I can agree with that.
Philly wants to run the ball. Niners want to run the ball. It's going to come down to that.
And Niners got, that's what I was going to say next. Niners got the backfield. McCaffrey, Mitchell, Debo,
Nobody does it better.
You can't sleep on Miles Sanders though. I mean, he's not Debo. He's not Debo.
Yeah,
He's not Christian McCaffrey, but
he's solid.
Miles Sanders is definitely solid.
He's 1,000 yards.
I do want to back up for a minute though, because I think a lot of the talking heads are going to make a big deal out of Brock Purdy because it's a fun storyline. And for what it's worth, Brock has played his ass off. But the 49ers overall, at least off the top of my head, they're one of, if not the most talented teams in the NFL. You're talking about Kittle, McCaffrey, Debo, Trent Williams, and then on the defensive side, you have Warner, you have Greenlaw. Like,
but then you're forgetting Philly has Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts. They got Devontae Smith, Goddard, AJ Brown. You're forgetting that they are matching up equally.
I'm with you. My counter to that is as talented as Philly has been across the board, which they are. I absolutely agree. It's between those two teams probably for overall roster talent, but San Francisco's been playing together for years now. Aside from McCaffrey, he's the only new addition.
So is Philly.
Philly got a lot of these guys this past year.
The only two that are different is AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts has been here for 2 years, and they added AJ Brown this year.
That's like a big deal, though.
CJ,
it's not that big.
It's
not that big because has that chemistry seemed like it affected Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown at all this year?
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying when I'm weighing
they're
out
best
talent,
friends.
I'm saying when I'm weighing out talent and who's got the better roster overall, I'm also going to add in the fact that these San Francisco guys have, as a core, been together for years now, getting to the NFC Championship, getting to far along in the playoffs every year.
Yeah, and they don't get further along. They always make the NFC Championship and then they choke. But you're just.
See, the argument that we're making here about like the tightness of that group being together for so long is why this is a toss-up for me, but I am picking the Niners in that toss-up. I'm just saying, like, I don't think any of those relations, I don't think offense or defense, I don't think any of that is going to matter in this game because I think these teams are so equal. Like, this is a perfect collision to happen. Like, I don't think you can name stars on any side to try and say one outmatches the other because these teams are just so even. And I literally think it just comes down to turnovers and the Niners. I don't think they haven't really been a high turnover team this year. And I think the Eagles, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call them a high turnover team, but we have seen a couple times where they've been turnover prone. And I think that's just the difference to me.
Listen,
and it's going to come down to turnover.
I'm gonna say this. Last week on the show, y'all said Brock Purdy had to fall at some point. Y'all thought it was last week against a weaker team, but now you're taking Brock Purdy against a better team.
Yeah, I'm not. I've never.
I wasn't here last week, but I would take San Francisco against any team in the NFC.
I'm taking Brock Purdy to do his best Ryan Tannehill.
It has nothing to do with Brock Purdy. The reason Brock has been able to be so successful as literally a nobody, as irrelevant, is because how good that team is. I agree. And it's a great story. Like, I'm not hating on Brock at all, but would he be who he is right now on any other team? I don't think so.
No, and then here's the other thing. You got to think about this. If it comes down to quarterback play, are you going to take Brock Purdy over Jalen Hurts?
No, but I might take Brock Purdy's weapons over Hurts' weapons.
I don't know, man, because their weapons are very similar.
It's tight. I mean, at the end of the day, I think these top four teams, I mean, you couldn't do any better than these top four. Like, you couldn't write it better. Like,
these top four teams are the best in the NFL. That's hands down.
This is one of the first times that we've literally got the top four that you should see in the top four.
100%.
And the only argument could have been Buffalo. But they choked it away, so it's like it was.
Hold on.
I haven't heard Buffalo for years have been that team that people thought they were.
I was on the Buffalo train before the season, and then by week 5, I was off the Buffalo train.
Exactly. I agree with Matt 100%.
Because I'm a big fan of Josh Allen. Yeah, you could argue them, but I don't even think
he's clearly better.
I don't even think the Buffalo Bills are top 3 in the conference.
Ooh, that's interesting. Who's your number 3?
Who's your number 3? Because they'd still be my number 3.
Really? All right. I'm going Cincinnati.
So, Matt,
I'm going KC in the conference. I'm going KC, Cincinnati, right?
that's fair. Yep.
KC, Cincinnati. I'm going Baltimore when healthy.
Ooh.
Okay, that's I can see.
And it's a big
I can see
win,
that.
right?
I can
Because they're
see
never
that.
healthy.
Yeah, they're never healthy.
Yeah,
I'm
fair.
going Miami when Tua is 100% healthy, and
Mm.
then I'm going Buffalo. Buffalo's top 5.
Off one
Clearly.
year of work.
So that's interesting because Miami almost beat Buffalo twice, so I can really see where you're coming from. But since they haven't necessarily done it, it's tough for me to take them out of the top
They
3.
need to
But
take
I
another
really do
step.
see where you're coming from with that, though. It's tough
Yeah,
to disagree.
AFC is fun right now.
But I
It's fun
would
for these
still
next couple
put
years.
Buffalo at number 3, but I got them at a hard number 3. It isn't like a iffy. Maybe they can move up or down number 3. That's where I still have them. But this thing that we're talking about with the matchups, I think the thing is like everybody's waiting to see if Brock Purdy will fall, and it's just like what Zach said about like the Ryan Tannehill syndrome. I don't think Kyle Shanahan is going to put Brock Purdy in that situation to have to fail. He's going to keep letting this play calling be smooth and simple. I really don't see a team that's going to put him in that situation, especially like I said, with the rushing defense of the Eagles being 16th. They can run the ball and get into that play action like Kellen Moore didn't do with Dallas.
So
And that's what caused them to fall.
I do agree with that because we're talking about the talent on the field, but at the same time, we got to look at the coaches, who's coming up with the game plans. If I'm going to go coach versus coach, I'm going Kyle Shanahan over Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
That's where I think this game is won.
Yep.
So I can see that. But I'm still going Philly.
No problem. No problem. All right. So it looks like we're getting some questions and stuff in here, guys. And some
Yep, let's go ahead and move in over here before we move on to the next one.
After saying, so you guys think Raheem Morris will be our coach next year? Before we get to that real quick, I just wanted to comment on something that Chad said here. Allen is Rivers. So I've actually been thinking about this a lot. And I feel like Burrow and Mahomes are about to start turning into that Peyton Manning, Tom Brady rivalry for years. And then the other guys that you see on the other half will be like the who was it? Philip Rivers,
Ben.
Big Ben, will be like the Josh Allen and the Justin Herbert, and then you'll maybe see like a maybe with the well, I don't want to count out Lamar Jackson and the Ravens because, like Matt said, I mean, I had them winning the Ravens winning the division if they would have stayed healthy, which I think they would have still done. So some of the guys that we could add into that rotation there, but yeah, that was what I was going to add to Chad's comparison there. If anybody else had anything else to that before we get to Ash's a statement or question here.
So Ashley asked, so guys, you think Raheem Morris will be our coach next year? I think Damon is all on board with him having his name as Coach Morris. I'll say in the beginning when we announced that we were interviewing him, I looked him up a little bit and I saw what he did a little over a decade ago as a head coach in Tampa Bay, and I wasn't impressed. But at the same time, I don't know that Tampa Bay just wasn't a good team back then. So
Go in on it, Matt.
What's up?
Want me to go in on it?
I mean,
yeah,
he's
you
had a
can.
lot of time to change too.
Yeah, he's got. I mean, it was a decade of time to improve, to learn more about the, things like that. So, at the same time, I'm okay with it. And the reason the big thing I'm okay with bringing in a DC as our head coach, because a lot of people want offensive coordinator. A lot of people are pointing that way because our offense is what failed. The reason I think that a defensive coordinator being our head coach is going to improve our offense more than hiring an offensive coordinator is because that allows an offensive coordinator to focus on the offense.
So you have to make sure you get the right guy for offense.
Right. So you just make sure you have the right guy as your offensive coordinator. He brings in his right staff, and they're all focusing offensively. We don't have to worry about the head coach calling plays or being too focused on the offense on game day like Frank was. He could focus more on things like time management, making the right decisions, things like that a head coach has to focus on. And he can still bring in another defensive coordinator. The other reason why I think bringing in a defensive coordinator improves this team as a whole is if you bring in a defensive coordinator, then you bring in a second defensive coordinator, this defense is going to go from what it was last season to top 3 in the NFL.
Yep. So where I come from with it is I wasn't high on Raheem Morris from the start. I'm going to just be honest straight up with everybody. My first thing was just like Matt said, his previous visit with Tampa Bay when he was the head coach was not good. The Tampa team was not good. Didn't really look well organized. They just didn't look like a good team. Then you got some other coaches that I also didn't recommend because it was going to be their second time. Dan Quinn was one of those guys, and I just didn't want to see a repeat coach. You know, there have been some second time coaches that have been effective and came back and they learned some things and got better. I just didn't see it as something that I wanted us to deal with. Now, I've been seeing a lot of Colts fans and stuff going through the debates on wanting defensive coordinator versus offensive coordinator. Many wanted offensive coordinator to fix the offense, and I didn't really think that was the issue. The problem is we didn't have a guy to come in and organize everything and then delegate to his guys to get it right. And then also our biggest issue of all that it's been for a while is quarterback. So you get the right head coach, you get an offensive coordinator, and everybody's who's asking, we can see some in the comments who's bringing in their offensive coordinator. I think the problem is we still need to remember that these guys need to be commanded and be ready to go on the field each and every Sunday with or without quarterback. Yes, we do want a quarterback, but with or without, these guys need to be motivated and ready to play each and every week. And so I have come along to the Raheem Morris thing. I'm hoping that some things have gotten better over the years. But God forbid, I will take anybody over Jeff Saturday coming back as our head coach. I will say that and let you guys jump in there. Trev.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it at all. It definitely looks likely that Raheem Morris is the front runner. And honestly, he was, if I remember right, he was associate head coach with Atlanta a couple years back. He had a lot of involvement there. And I always felt like Atlanta would overachieve with the roster they had. They'd constantly be around 500. Around 500, yeah. They obviously haven't been a good team since 2016 when they went on that run. But I think they even this past season, they outperformed expectations because they were supposed to be a cellar dweller. And they got, 6-7 wins? So to me, that's outperforming their expectations. So they're a well-coached group. All that to say, I think Raheem Morris has the ability to be that good coach. My biggest concern is what he does with these coordinators, right? Like, do we get rid of Gus? Does he bring in someone else to take over DC? And then for offensive coordinator, right, it's been the biggest question this whole time. We've had it, for lack of a better word, we've had it fucked from the beginning because we had Marcus Brady in there. He was a first-year OC. He came from quarterback coach, made him the scapegoat, threw him away, put a 30-year-old who's never done it in charge of calling plays. So it's like that whole thing has been a mess this whole time. You know what I'm saying? So my big interest in whoever we bring in, which right now it looks like Morris is likely, is who are they bringing with them? What connections do they have to build this staff as a whole, and who are we keeping? Who are they bringing with them?
Just an update on that. Marcus Brady, I believe, did get an interview with the Jets as their offensive coordinator.
They just brought in LaFleur. You got
No. They hired Hackett.
LaFleur left the Jets. That's right. My bad.
Interview with Hackett.
LaFleur just
who did he sign?
He went back to the Rams.
Yep, that's right.
That's right.
He went back with his guy Sean McVay. But yeah, you basically, Trev, you're stating the same thing as everybody else is which offensive coordinator, and yeah, I think that is a big deal, but I think we got to get the right head coach first. That's just still the biggest thing.
For sure. And for what it's worth, and Chad touched on it too in one of his comments, is that Morris has been around a long time. He has relationships. He has these coaches that work with him. So if he can't get A guy or B guy, maybe the C guy or so on is still pretty solid. You know,
we just need to make sure he fixed what didn't work with Tampa. Zach, you want to go ahead and chime in there?
I mean, personally, like when it comes to the head coach, I really don't care. As long as it's not Saturday, I'm game for anybody. If it is Raheem Morris,
I'm with you, Zach.
That's great. I mean, I personally, again, I could care less if he's an OC or a DC. I really don't care who the hell his OC is. Like, to be honest with you, because we're probably going to look at a staff that is either first-time offensive coordinators, first-time defensive coordinators, or it's going to be like his defensive staff is been around a while, and the offensive staff is essentially put together and pretty new. So I mean, in that aspect, I'm excited for because I mean that's essentially ground zero. You can build an offense around a young quarterback. You can figure out what the hell he likes to do, and add the weapons and do it that way. Kind of like what Shane Steichen did in Philly with Jalen Hurts. I mean, no one heard of that dude, but yet he's built, in my opinion, an unstoppable scheme that's very hard, to defend in Philly. So whether it's Raheem Morris, my guy Wink, who got the second interview, or somebody else, the thought of that offensive coordinator, yeah, that's going to be huge. But at the same time, like, I feel like quality coaching, a quarterback coach, and the offensive coordinator being on the same page, if it is the same person, that's truly what's going to make our offense sink or swim. Getting that quarterback right and having that relationship with the OC is what's going to either take the Colts and be another 15 years of us being spoiled ass Colts fans and win in and this or that, or we're going to, suck like the 90s and, miss out on things. But whoever the head coach is, to me, the most important thing is, fixing what's up with that locker room and hearing all the leadership issues and people being late. Because once you get that nabbed in the butt, I think everything else, we're not that far out. We're super close.
I agree. I agree 100%. Because my thing,
freaking Super Bowl.
My thing is when it comes to head coach, right? The head coach is pretty much just the face of the franchise. That's all they are at that point. It's really just what staff he brings. That's really what matters the most. So Damon keeps having technical issues, just so everybody knows. He'll probably keep hopping back in here. Before we get, what's up?
I do want to add on that point that Zach made about just leadership in general, right? Because that's been one of the things we constantly hear spit out from Ballard and used to be Reich, and our front office as a whole is we want leaders in this locker room. They always get guys that were team captains in college and stuff, right? That's a trait they really admire. So my question is, are they even doing it right? Because we have these guys that we say have high leadership, but then you have stuff that you're talking about, like guys showing up late, or obviously this past year where it just looks like no one's accountable for anything. So at what point do we actually get leadership right? And when can the head coach really come down on that locker room and be like, you're not the leader I need, get out of here,
That's
we put
this
these guys in
offseason.
these leadership positions, and then
That's the
they're obviously not
importance.
getting the job done.
That's the importance of this offseason right now. Getting the right head coach, getting the right staff in there and play. I mean, the players that we have in the locker room, they're clearly leaders. They've all been playing together. They all like each other. You know what I mean? It's just the fact of we've had issues with accountability in the coaching staff. I wouldn't even say it's much as on the players as it is the coaching staff, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a question. Do you think if we bring Morris in as head coach, they keep Gus at DC, or because, Morris is a 3-4 guy, we switch schemes and all that fun jazz?
That's what Chad brought up the question there. He said if we bring a DC as head coach, Gus still has a chance to stay. He did very well when the offense was clicking. When they kept going 3-0 for turnovers, they got exhausted and production decreased. So what I've seen from Raheem Morris, at least with the Rams, he's a split guy. He'll run both the 3-4 or the 4-3, and he gets exotic the way you and Damon would prefer. A lot of the coverage and some of that stuff changes on the back end. It's tough to say what he'll stick to without like an Aaron Donald type. I know we do have DeForest Buckner, but that's not a prime Aaron Donald. So I honestly could see him maybe sticking with Gus for maybe a year to see if that works out or not. But I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to see some kind of change, depending on how he think the season went, to see some turnover.
I would definitely love to see it. I've been a Gus truther this whole time. I mean, all season I've been fighting for Gus to stay no matter what happens at head coach. And I think between those two, they're both great defensive minds. They could definitely work out a scheme that fits both of their needs,
Big facts. Damon, can you talk? Because you look frozen.
Yes,
over
I
there.
can.
All right, you go ahead and talk. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about it is, I don't know if y'all brought it up yet, but, he was a part of, Coach Morris was a part of, like, the Atlanta offensive staff during that whole, like, Super Bowl run era.
Yep.
Both as a wide receivers coach and as a pass game coordinator. So I think that could be contributing a little bit to maybe his interview, just because he has experience in both and he has been a head coach. But my overall, I guess, impression of everything is I think we're just looking for a leader. flat out. I think that spark within the locker room died halfway through the year. So that's where I'm going with it. So if that's what Raheem's going to bring, I'm all about it.
All right. Before we get more into these comments, let's go ahead and move on to the Chiefs and Bengals. Let's finish up this NFL bracket, and then we'll go ahead and talk about all of our opinions about coaches and things like that. So we got the Chiefs and the Bengals. Damon, you're first in, or not Damon, DeMarco. You are first in the shoot.
All right, man. Well, I think you guys pretty much know where I stand from the chat. And let me go ahead and pull my best Chris Collinsworth impression. Now, here's the guy. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes to take the Kansas City Chiefs to another Super Bowl, man. I'm right with my guy, Pat Mahomes. I think regardless of how his ankle is, I think if it's close enough to be fine, I think this will be different for those guys. I don't really think their matchup this year was more of a real game. I think it was more of a test competition game. The two times before that, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Bengals have played. The Chiefs were up about 21 points. I think I'm going to say both of those games are about 18 points, and they let those leads slip. So as much as people want to keep saying, oh, he's beat Patrick Mahomes 3 times, I think this is something where Joe Burrow has the better team, and Patrick Mahomes, this Chiefs team, will finally get it together, and that defense will hold off the Bengals, and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs get back to another Super Bowl.
Hey, real quick, we got a new viewer. This is the first time I've seen this name, Corinna. I hope I said that right. If I did,
You did.
Shoot me down in the comments. It'll be all right. But welcome to the show. She's got the Eagles and the Bengals in the Super Bowl. So, Trev, who you got?
Yeah, dude, I think it's game of the year potential every time Cincy and Kansas City play against each other. I think sparks fly this game. It's going to be score is going to be up there. If you're a betting man, take the over on whatever the score predictions are. But I got Cincy pulling through again, man. It's kind of just a gut feeling. It is another one of those games you can go either way. But Joe Burrow and the squad, maybe it's my bias for being an LSU guy. Man, I've got them going all the way through, and I'm not going to go from it now.
All right. Damon. Coach Morris, you're up.
I got Cincy. I don't think they're going to make Spagnuolo look like an idiot. I mean, the one thing that people neglect to speak about is just how good that Cincy running game can be too. Samaje Perine, Joe Mixon. I mean, and then we go to the offensive weapons. And like the thing that people are constantly not talking about is Cincinnati came back this year with a lot better defense. And that's not to say that they're going to stop Kansas City by any means. Don't take this the wrong way. But I don't think even if this turns into a shootout, Kansas City has it to stop them. Not at all.
Dude, in the key moments, I like Cincinnati's ability to stop Kansas City more than I like Kansas City's secondary matched against any of Cincinnati's weapons. And that's what it comes down to for me.
All right. Zach.
Yep.
He's going with his main man, Burrow.
Yeah, he is.
So y'all know when this started and I said Joe Burrow was the best quarterback in the AFC?
You were wrong.
And y'all mocked me, made fun of me. No. Joe Burrow's going to win this.
Relax.
Hold on. One second.
Joe Burrow.
Time out.
Joe Burrow's going to win this by 30.
You said the NFL. You said the NFL. You didn't say the AFC.
Facts.
You said the NFL.
NFL. He's the best QB in the land.
No, he's not.
You're
He's
What?
not.
But
Second best.
bro, he's the best quarterback. Hands down.
Listen,
There is nothing
Patrick
wrong
Mahomes
with being
on-
number 2 out of the 32
Nope.
best in the
I-
league.
Patrick
I refuse.
Mahomes on one leg is better than Joe Burrow.
If you keep Patrick Mahomes
That's
in the
wrong.
pocket, trash.
That's not true at all. Yeah.
Trash.
No,
If
Try
you
to
keep
keep
Patrick-
him in the pocket.
If you
Try
keep
to
Patrick
keep him
Mahomes in the pocket, trash.
Try to.
Cincinnati's
Try
done it
to.
3 straight times.
Try to keep him in the pocket.
They'll do it again tomorrow. And whatever Lou Anarumo, or whoever that defensive coordinator is for Cincinnati,
Mahomes in the pocket, and he's still gonna eat. Like that's the problem.
he's not eating enough to beat Cincinnati. So
Yeah.
It may not be, but explain to me why you're picking the Bengals. Explain to me.
Why am I picking the Bengals?
Because of this comment right here.
Their defense, nah. I wish, Chad, you guys would know. Nah. It's first off, I don't trust Kansas City's defense. If Kansas City had a lockdown corner, I would think, hey, they've got a chance. But they lost Tyrann Mathieu, so that back end, there's no one that scares me in the secondary. Secondly, Kansas City doesn't blitz. That's the only way you're getting to Patrick Mahomes, especially with a beat up or Joe Burrow, especially with a beat up offensive line. Like that whole right side of Joe Burrow's offensive line, Max Stripling and the right tackle, whatever his name is, they're all subs because Kappa and whoever the right tackle is, Liddell Collins, whoever he was hurt. Whoever that right tackle is, I mean, they're hurt. Essentially, Cincinnati's back offensive line is backups, and they've still been torching fools. Joe Burrow, I don't see has a kryptonite, and if you're gonna blitz Joe Burrow, 9 out of 10 times he's gonna make you pay. And Kansas City has no answers. They haven't had answers for 3 years, and they don't have any now because they don't have anything. They haven't done anything defensively to say we're gonna beat the Bengals. We're gonna go out and get 2 guys who can lock up on the outside, a guy who takes away T. Higgins when they need a possession catch, and a guy who can go man-to-man with Jamar Chase because Jamar Chase requires a safety and a corner all game long, exactly like Tyreek Hill did. I mean, it's just facts. There's nobody on that KC defense who's scares anybody. Nobody, because you double-team Chris Jones, and there goes the pass rush.
All right, I'm going to let
I am loving this because you gave me 5 reasons why the Bengals will win, and the one thing you did not say is because I believe Joe Burrow is better than Patrick Mahomes. That is the only reason I'm picking the Chiefs, because the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. Like, you won't even believe there were commentators like, look, Patrick Mahomes being the AFC Championship for 4 straight years, now 5. There was commentators that picked him to miss the playoffs because Tyreek Hill was gone. Bro, I'm telling you, there's no way in hell that if Patrick Mahomes wasn't the best quarterback in the league, that his team wouldn't be there. And the only reason people were picking them is because him. The favoritism that dropped from Kansas City, even in the betting odds, dropped because his ankle was hurt. His ankle. It ain't his arm. It ain't something. He's not stopping him from throwing his ankle. And we can see here, and people who even picked the Bengals, just like Zach laid out here for everybody, everything that had to do with why the Bengals will win. And not one time did he mention that the quarterback will be the major difference. It's been which team will be better, not quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the league. I'm sorry, Zach.
They're so even. It's 1A and 1B.
You could call it 1A, 1B, but Patrick Mahomes is 1A.
Let me do my pick. I'm gonna do my pick real quick before we get into this debate, because this debate's gonna continue to go. Because I'm also going with the Kansas City Chiefs. Although I like Joe Burrow, and I think I do like the Bengals, and I really have nothing riding on this game. Right, the only game that rides on anything is the Eagles and 49ers, because it rides on my wife's happiness. But anything else, it doesn't matter. But I am picking the Kansas City Chiefs because of 2 words: Patrick Mahomes.
Thank you.
That's it.
He is number 1. And that's it.
I can add 2 more bonus words. Travis Kelce. Because like you guys said, the Eagles are going to struggle to cover George Kittle. Well, Travis Kelce is 10 times the tight end that George Kittle is. Receiving, yes. So if you're trying to tell me that Philly's top defense is going to struggle against George Kittle, but you're going to not say that Cincinnati's defense is not going to struggle against Travis Kelce in the playoffs? I get it. They did it last year.
Preach.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm going to say this.
If Patrick Mahomes doesn't go ballistic, we know who probably wins this game. You can say Patrick Mahomes. We've been examples of only having one great player, Peyton Manning. Like our entire team was when Peyton Manning was a Colt, our entire team was built around Peyton Manning.
Built around, but he wasn't the only one.
Peyton when you talk on our defense wasn't elite.
Bro, when you talk about when you talk about Patrick Mahomes simply just taking a team there, that's all Kansas City has. They don't have enough around Patrick Mahomes to, in my opinion, to win, to take them to the next level.
Hold on.
beat a team like Joe Burrow.
That's my whole point, though.
Here's my rebuttal. Hold on. Here's my rebuttal. Because Zach.
So
Hold on, Zach. Because we've talked about this multiple times, and every time we've talked about what quarterback we want on this team, you've always said the quarterback, needs to elevate everyone around them. It didn't matter who we had around them. You always talked about the quarterback elevating everyone around them. If you don't look at the Kansas City Chiefs and see Patrick Mahomes elevating everyone around him, you're a little crazy. Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow has weapons. I think Joe Burrow has Peyton Manning style weapons around him with T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase,
elevated
Joe Mixon, elevated Joe Burrow. But you got Patrick Mahomes, who I can't even name any receiver on their team outside of Juju Smith-Schuster. And they're still in the AFC Championship game.
like I said, Pat Mahomes is good, but
he's better than Joe Burrow.
No. Patrick Mahomes is good.
No.
In a regular ass sentence.
No. Burrow. Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow both elevate the players around them.
No.
But I think Joe Burrow has done it better.
Exactly.
No.
Zach,
Joe Burrow is elevated.
Okay, Zach, tell me Patrick Mahomes' worst season record-wise.
Probably last year.
What was their record?
I don't even remember, but I know they went to the AFC Championship game.
Okay, now tell me Joe Burrow's worst record.
Rookie year.
I want to say
he blew his knee out.
I agree with Mark.
What was the record?
I think they won 4 games.
Hold on, let Trev. Hold on. Trev said something.
He played like 5 games that year. That doesn't count.
Yeah, he hurt his knee, blew an ACL, bro.
But even when he was playing, they weren't winning.
That's right, because he elevates everybody around him who's out there.
Hold on, if you remember that year, Joe Burrow started a game 21-0 and still lost.
And to the Indianapolis Colts.
I was at that game.
Rivers, do you guys remember the graphic where he had 9 more kids than Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
You guys remember the graphic?
Listen.
Yeah.
I'm all for this because I think obviously both are potentially all-time greats, right? But you can't compare prime Pat.
Hey, hold on.
Joe.
Time out.
Hold
on. 1 second. Joe Burrow. Hold on. 1 second. Trev is an LSU fan. Just so everyone knows,
and I still
he's a Joe Burrow. He's a Joe Burrow fan. So
I'm the biggest Joe Burrow fan probably here. All right.
Hey,
but he's number. I still got him number 2. All right. He's still number 2.
Thank you, because I was about to say I'm a big ass Joe Burrow fan too.
But I don't think. At the same time,
he's big time number 2.
Rookie Joe who got injured and had nothing, and then as soon as he's played full season, AFC Championship both times.
Hold on, Coach.
These guys are both in the same breed of quarterback. All right. So
Coach Morris is trying to talk.
Going to be big for legacy.
Coach Morris is trying to talk, but he's kind of choppy over there.
I think he froze again.
Yeah, I think he froze again. Damon, you're just not having a good night, man.
So that's just my thing, man. I mean, even if you take it from the bounce back year of Joe Burrow when he came back, got Jamar Chase, and you compare it to, because we can keep saying rookie Joe Burrow if we want to, but Patrick Mahomes didn't play his rookie season. His first full season as a starter,
MVP,
50 touchdowns, and went to an AFC Championship game. So we can keep trying to maneuver it a little bit. I mean, this isn't more to you, Trev, because you're kind of, you said Joe Burrow's number 2, but I'm just letting Zach know. We can try and say whatever.
Burrow did get drafted to a terrible team where Mahomes got to sit on a playoff team for a year. So the situations are different in that aspect. Mahomes' team wasn't trash.
Nope, because if you would
have Burrow's team kind of was.
But see, hold on. That's like another Aaron Rodgers situation where you already have the talent as a quarterback, and now you're just learning the simple shit that you're learning from the quarterback who's starting. Patrick Mahomes learned from Alex
That's
Smith.
A luxury, though.
No,
Burrow didn't have that.
And I'm not hating on that.
But still look at it this way. From when Aaron Rodgers got to do it, Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years while the Packers were like, what are we going to do with Brett Favre? What are we going to do? What are we going to do for 3 years? Patrick Mahomes
Right.
sat behind Alex Smith for 1 year, and the Chiefs said, "Get your ass out of here. This dude sitting behind you is it."
Listen, let's say this. Let's say this, right? Because everybody talked about Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, and then Tyreek Hill left, and everybody was like, "Oh, well, let's see what happens to the Chiefs. What's going to happen to Patrick Mahomes? He's losing his number one target, and here he
Still the
is,
MVP.
I mean,
still
like,
the
he's
MVP.
MVP. Like,
still in the AFC Championship game. Now we're not saying we don't like Burrow.
I
We're
love
saying
Burrow.
is,
I love Joe
I
Burrow.
love, dude. I
He's
love
just
his
not
press
Patrick
conferences.
Mahomes.
I love Joe Burrow's press conferences. I love the guy. You know what I read today is that Joe Burrow plays Smash Brothers on Saturday nights when he's on his way to the hotel or whatever on away games.
He's
Because
him.
he said his film study's already done, and I
He's
like
him.
that about him. I like him. Yeah,
He's him.
he's my number 2 for sure.
Yeah.
But he's not better than Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry.
It-
Until he does the things that Patrick Mahomes does.
There-
I
So
don't
what's
know.
that?
Things.
Win
There
a
are
Super
two
Bowl
things.
and give me an MVP because I
No,
truly
I
believe
mean, like,
I truly believe Burrow's winning a Super Bowl this year. I'm confident
I'm with
in that. Like
Okay,
confident in that.
Now
And
hold
an
on,
MVP,
now-
and an MVP, well, of course not. Like Mahomes, a media darling. I mean, I don't expect Burrow to fall and get people to love the media. I mean, he
Burrow's
lives
a
in
media
middle
darling,
America.
too.
so even if you want to call him a media darling, you sit here and say Patrick Mahomes has less to work with. He has
Yeah.
a lesser defense. Before Joe Burrow's offensive line got hurt, you said the Bengals had a better offensive line. Then you look at stats. Patrick Mahomes has better stats. You can't just call him a media darling when there's 4 things that says
Patrick Mahomes played
everything.
one more game in Cincinnati this year.
It doesn't matter. He still threw 5 more touchdowns and over 8,000 yards more. 800 yards more. So we can keep calling it a media darling, whatever we want. But you look at everything that you can sit there and say that Joe Burrow is better, and Patrick Mahomes has done more with less. That is an MVP.
Yeah.
So
All right, hold on. Okay, so Chad likes to be our middleman, right? So I'm
I
gonna
know
go
he
ahead and
said
post.
this.
I'm gonna go ahead and post this.
McDonald's.
I'm gonna go ahead and post this. Here's a good question: what would it take for you guys to say Burrows has to do to be your number 1? Let me answer that first because I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna be this simple. This is how simple it is. All right. Win tomorrow. Win tomorrow.
That's
And
not
that's
for
it.
me.
That's it for me. And
Yeah,
the only reason I say that is because that makes Joe Burrow still undefeated against Patrick Mahomes. That still makes him, that's a second time winning in an AFC Championship against Patrick Mahomes. That makes him go to a Super Bowl and have a potential to win it again. So to me, that's back to back. I mean, to some people, it's going to put him aligned with Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes still can't beat what Joe Burrow does. He just has to win tomorrow for me. Go ahead, Damon.
I mean,
DeMarco. My bad.
can y'all hear me good now? Though? Can you hear me good?
Yeah. So you can go ahead and talk. You go ahead and
Yeah.
talk because you haven't talked all
Yeah, I
night.
was about to
'cause
say,
you've been messing all
he
up.
might
I
cut
mean,
out, so let him
I'm
go
even
first.
going to solo him right now.
Hey, Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback, but the Bengals are the better team.
Oh, he's agreeing with us, man.
Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback, but the Bengals are the better team, and the Bengals will win tomorrow. End of story. Yeah.
You
Listen.
heard? Did you not hear what Damon just said? He said the better football team will beat the better quarterback.
But it's close though. It's
But I
close.
still think the better quarterback will beat the better team.
No,
And
I agree
but
with
that's
that as
not
well
true.
too. But
How
my
many-
thing is,
Okay.
go ahead.
How many
Damon,
times?
go ahead, Damon.
How many times do we? I'll use a great example as this right now. Would it have been 2009, 2000, the year before, the last run Peyton really had at a chance to win
2000. Well, no, because
He
2009
lost to the
we
Jets in the
almost went
wild card.
undefeated. Yeah,
that season,
2010,
right?
We were
That
a good
season,
team,
right?
but yeah.
Great example of the kind of I'd say the team that Patrick Mahomes kind of has right now. Didn't discredit anything because I don't know if I remember that season. Peyton Manning, I think, set the record or almost set the record for most pass attempts. He threw the ball a crap ton that season. Played exceptionally well.
I think he had like close to like 600 passes.
But I
was-
also remember him throwing 3 interceptions in the wild card round.
That Jets defense though was legit. They even beat Brady.
Granted, yeah, they did, they did, and they should have went all the way. But I mean, obviously, that was the orange.
So here's what I'll say to that in a rebuttal to everybody saying better quarterback beats the better team. Tom Brady beat the better team multiple times to go to the Super Bowl in the early 2000s. We had a better
disagree
team.
with
Nope, I don't. I think we had a better team than the New England Patriots for like goddamn 5 years in a row, but we
did.
lost 4 of those times.
I disagree.
Really? You think
Yeah.
that New England had a better team than us?
I think they had a better
How
team
many-
than us for decades.
How many of those
Yes.
players? Hold on. How
Years.
many of those? Hold on. How many of those players from 2001 to 2006 made it to the Hall of Fame from New England compared to how many made it from Indianapolis?
A lot more
Well,
than us on defense.
That's
Yeah.
not true at all.
Yeah,
We're tied.
Lawyer Malloy, Rodney Harrison,
Ty Law.
Ty Law. You had
Richard Seymour.
Richard Seymour. There was a lot of fucking defenders over there that were good that people don't even talk
Vrabel.
about just because they don't
Vrabel.
get
Teddy
mentioned.
Still
Bruschi.
wasn't. It still
Vrabel,
wasn't a better team
Teddy
than us.
Bruschi. I'm telling you, bro. I think those teams were so much better than us. Maybe we had some key players. We had Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney, and then we had.
Don't sleep on Gary Brackett now.
But what
I mean,
about-
Gary
we had
Brackett
no
was good,
corners.
but he ain't no Hall of Famer.
He ain't. But you
And
still
if you
can't
compare,
sleep on
and
him.
if you compare Gary Brackett to Mike Vrabel, most people are going to take Mike Vrabel over Gary Brackett, and then they might even take God damn it, what's his name? Rob Ninkovich. People might compare Gary Brackett to him. So I'm like, I think those teams.
I still
were-
think
were
our teams were better. I think our team was better still.
I think they had the better
far.
defense, but our offense should have been.
And then
I
they
think
also
our-
had a better coach.
I still think.
Yes.
I still think that our team as a whole was better than theirs. Yeah, they had a solid defense, but our team as a whole was better than theirs.
But before we get off on a tangent real quick here, let me ask Chad's questions real quick because Damon kind of went in on it a little bit. And what will Burrow have to do to top Patrick Mahomes to me? And it is basically, I'm going to put it this way. So everybody said that Josh Allen was supposed to be the MVP. The Buffalo Bills were supposed to go to the Super Bowl. Now, when we look at the Buffalo Bills when the season started, everybody thought what? You're going to have the number one offense, you're going to have the number one defense, and you're going to have the number one quarterback, right? And they didn't do it. So my thing is, Patrick Mahomes has always done more with less. As soon as we get to this point where the Bengals got to start paying people and that team becomes lesser and it becomes more quarterback-centric, where the quarterback is the focal point of everything and you're not really talking about like stuff like a defensive coordinator or their pass rush or this or that, and it's their quarterback. Once he can start beating Mahomes in that way, that's when he can become number one to me, because I could care less about the whole everybody wants to compare quarterback to quarterback, because guess what? Neither quarterback plays defense. Neither quarterback is on special teams. So if one of those sides have a bad day, then everybody's like, oh, this quarterback lost to this guy. And then you go look at the score and the quarterback was good, but the rest of his team sucked. So to me, you got to do less with more, then I'll crown you. And Patrick Mahomes is the only quarterback that I see doing less with more. And then maybe you got Justin Herbert in there or Trevor Lawrence if they can somehow elevate themselves. But until you do less with more, that's when you top them.
I like that
Yeah,
you bring
so-
up Justin Herbert because I don't think Justin Herbert actually elevates anybody on his team.
He does not. That's why I was saying unless one of them, because they have less. Well, they got talent, but they got a
They
lesser
have the
coach.
potential.
Their coach is
They have
trash.
the potential, but
Their coach is trash. So
Exactly.
I don't want to hate on Justin Herbert just because I think that,
not,
that
not
coach is
just
trash.
not just yet until they get
But
a
not-
legit coach.
But not to change topics
guys
here
can-
either.
You guys can see what I'm saying though, right? You know,
What's
But
up?
but
do more with less.
but not to change topics too much. But Staley's a defensive guy, isn't he? Defensive coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
So doesn't that worry y'all a little bit about bringing a defensive guy in? If we're gonna go draft a quarterback.
No, because Staley is just Cam. He's
I,
Cam.
I think Staley's
I
a
think-
special case.
Yeah,
It's
I
worked
think
out so
when
many times, and Staley's like the one thing I can think of right now that's been this god awful. It's mostly in his decision making, right? Because like their offense will be typically good throughout the year, and then when it comes down to key
Well,
moments,
because
Staley's
it's all on
or he goes
quarterback.
for it on
and,
fourth when he shouldn't. So
it's
I
all on
think that's
quarterback
more
and-
where Staley messes it up.
Yeah, you also don't see a lot of teams calling for a coach to be fired, making the playoffs his first year.
Exactly. And that's why I keep saying it's more on quarterback, a good quarterback, and Austin Eckler, and they make that Chargers team look different. And that's why I say with Raheem Morris, if you look back at those Buccaneers teams that they had some talent, but they weren't really good. They weren't constructed well enough for them to be successful. And I think that could be the difference for Raheem Morris to learn from his past ways.
Here's my thing too is Chuck Pagano, in my opinion, had more success as a head coach than Frank Reich did. And Frank
Yeah.
Reich's an offensive coordinator or an offensive-minded coach. And Chuck Pagano, listen, Chuck Pagano did the best he could with the team he was given.
Yeah,
The team he
I
was
will
given.
agree. His rosters were trash.
His
His
rosters
staff
were
was, too.
trash, and we
And
went
we
down.
literally did better. We were in the playoffs.
did better.
consistently.
11-5, 11-5, 11-5, and then we kind of fell off. But we went like 19-0 against the division.
Well,
He was literally just better.
And you got,
Even though we
when
didn't
you
achieve
got
what we
Andrew
should
Luck,
have.
bro. When you got Andrew Luck,
But he knew how to use what he had. Is what I'm saying. Like if for example, right? You look at the Pat McAfee story, right? Of when Chuck Pagano called a fake field goal against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Pat McAfee changed it. That's one of those things as a head coach that he was just like, he kind of brushed it off. He was like, okay, cool, you changed it because you saw Troy Polamalu do something that he doesn't normally do. That's allowing his team or allowing his coaches to do something different than what he called. Right?
I
He
agree.
called that.
to that fake.
I agree,
punt.
Matt. I mean,
Yeah, that
I mean,
fake punt against the Patriots, I got that. But
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's a whole thing.
and he was a defensive coach too. And I highly doubt any of us right now can sit here and say who our 2014 starting defense was, all 11 players.
DeQuell Jackson,
Half
I
of
think it's
them
tough
suck.
to
Vontae Davis,
But you understand what we're saying? What Matt's
Powers,
saying here. I mean, we're
Landry.
struggling. We're at 4 guys now.
Landry was trash.
Arthur Jones,
no, hold on.
Corey Reddy,
LaRon Landry was decent when he could stay on the goddamn field.
But
Robert-
backing up, right? Backing up.
Robert Mathis,
If he can stay in the box,
I think
your
Davis
boy
Mills
Greg
said,
Toller.
like, we don't have all
Greg
pros.
Toller was
We don't have Pro
trash.
Bowls.
Yo, hold on. I'm gonna say this now. Greg Toller was the worst corner to
He is
ever
the
play
worst
for the
corner I've ever,
Indianapolis
like
Colts.
one of the worst I've ever seen, bro. Bro looked like he just got out of high school
Bro.
and got thrown to the NFL.
Bro, I
Jarrell
remember.
Freeman.
Hold on. I used to play Josh McNary. I used to play Madden. I used to play Madden, and anytime someone played against me, I'd be like, "Yo, go ahead and throw to Greg Toller. Find Greg Toller on the field and go ahead and throw on his side because he's
Cheat
about
code.
to get burned." But no, Josh McNary. I remember Josh McNary. That dude was funny.
Those
He was one of my
defenses-
LTs.
Those defenses were so bad. Like,
So bad.
And you're a defensive coach. That's hard. That's hard.
but see,
That's extremely
that was
hard.
the thing. So that's
But
the
Yeah,
thing
but his
that I-
defensive coordinator was Greg Minuski. That dude's a nut job.
Facts.
Yeah, but even if he is a nut job, his GM was a crackhead.
I agree.
Oh, imagine the most pitiful scene in sports history was Chuck Pagano and Minuski hugging each other after we had one stop at the end of that championship. That divisional game against Kansas City. After they put up 38 points, Alex Smith looked like a Hall of Fame player.
It was a wild
They
card
hugged-
round.
Let's
a
hug each
wild-
other real quick. They
that
put
was the
600
wild
yards of
card round.
offense on us. Oh God.
That was the wild card round that we came back in though. We came
And then
back
we
and won
beat
that game.
Denver the next game.
I'll
right?
say this.
Denver.
I'll say this about Ryan Grigson, right? We always say he was a crackhead fucking GM, but he tried to bring us talent. That man did what he could to try to bring us talent. He tried to bring us Andre Johnson. You know, he brought us over Frank. The dude tried to pursue people. It just didn't pan out.
Bro, when you're a GM and you
Hakeem
try and
Nicks.
pursue people, you got to try and pursue
Yeah.
both sides.
Look, hold on. I mean, I got it. He tried to bring over. Let's name him Andre Johnson, Frank Gore,
Trent Richardson.
Trent Richardson.
He
who
brought us
hold
a
on,
blind running back.
bro,
You
hold
can't
on.
blame him for that.
Bro,
Trent
bro,
Richardson
hold
had
on.
1,000 yards the year
Blind.
before.
DeMarco, hold on, because y'all keep cutting me off about what he brought and what they were when they were here.
Trent
The
Cole.
thing is, hold on, yeah, Trent Cole. Trent Richardson was a stud in Cleveland.
Bro, was
Andre Johnson, hold on,
blind.
dude, stop cutting me off. Trent Richardson was a stud in Cleveland. Andre Johnson was a stud in Houston. Frank Gore has always been a stud. Darius Hayward-Bay was a stud everywhere he played. Ryan Grigson tried to bring us the talent. He tried to bring us the people, and they came here, and Trent Richardson ended up being blind. He ended up wasting 3 first-round picks on him. We got that. He was blind. But when he was in Cleveland, he wasn't. When he got to us, he was.
But the
Darius
problem
Hayward-Bay decided, I can't catch a fucking football anymore.
he couldn't catch one in Pittsburgh before we brought him in.
That's bullshit. He had good seasons in Pittsburgh before
But he
we
had
brought
drop
him in.
issues. Pittsburgh Steelers always draft receivers with
So
drop
did
issues.
hold on. So did Eric Ebron, and
Yeah.
Chris Ballard brought him
It was-
here.
And he
It
had
was
his
one of those
best seasons with Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck can make
So-
a bad player look
Andrew
good.
Luck had Darius Hayward Bay.
Yeah, but that's just bringing a bad player and
No.
Andrew Luck making him look
I
good.
just caught the flaw in what you were just saying. You said
No.
Darius Hayward Bay. Hold on. You said
Can
Darius Hayward
anybody-
Bay had drop. Hold on. You said Darius Hayward Bay had drop issues in Pittsburgh. Eric Ebron had drop issues in Detroit.
Yeah.
We brought Darius Hayward Bay, who played with Andrew Luck. Still,
and who did they go from playing with?
He had
Who did
drop
they go from
issues
playing
even
with?
worse. Eric Ebron came over and played with Andrew Luck and
But
didn't
who did
have
they
drop
have issues with? Who was their quarterbacks that they had
Ben
issues?
Roethlisberger and Matthew Stafford.
They are neither are as good as Andrew Luck.
Just chill out, though. That's not the point.
No, so my point is, can anybody outside of the Indianapolis fan base name me who Levon Brazil is?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
I said
Hell
outside
yeah.
of the Indianapolis fan base.
Hold
No.
on. But now
but
you're
no
talking
one
about
has
someone
guys
who's
like that.
trash. Now you're talking about someone who's trash. What I'm saying
Who is
is,
also
were
a fifth
all
round,
trash.
fourth round pick. A fourth round
oh
pick.
my goodness.
Every team has guys
LeBron
like that.
Brazil's
So
a
you could
fucking
pick any team and pull a random ass weapon out. I think
Hey.
Grigson did a good job of trying. Like, we can recognize the bad and the good, right? He tried to hit these skill positions, and then he'd get them here, and they would suck. That's completely
No,
valid.
the bad
the biggest thing of
the
Grigson,
bad was, the
where he
bad
would
was
screw
is
it-
we got 1,000 offensive weapons outside running back. We did not fix the offensive line. We did
Yeah,
not.
that's what I'm getting to.
defense.
That's what he did
all,
wrong.
all of that.
But look,
was
but here you go.
absolutely Garbage.
Here you go. Look at
Put-
Cincinnati. Hold on. Look at Cincinnati.
go.
Cincinnati didn't address their offensive line whatsoever. And here they are again in the AFC Championship because all they did was bring in weapons.
No, they
The
brought
issue-
in offensive line. They brought in
They-
three
no, they
linemen this
didn't.
off. They brought in three
They
linemen
did.
this offseason.
Yeah,
and
they
they
did.
still had a terrible offensive line.
'Cause they got
still
hurt.
had a terrible
They
offensive
got
line.
hurt
They
And
did
it's
get hurt.
they're still in the AFC Championship.
because of quarterbacks. So if they keep getting hurt and they don't,
And
bring
we
in-
had Andrew Luck.
and we didn't bring in no offensive linemen.
And
None.
but here's the thing. That's equal to them offensive linemen being injured.
Time out.
No,
We brought in
no, it's
Gosner
not-
Cerilius.
it's
Listen,
not-
if you're trying to say, hold on, if you're trying to say Cincinnati brought in offensive linemen, but they got hurt, so they still had a bottom of the league offensive line. Here they are in the AFC Championship.
no,
You can't
I'm
compare.
saying-
Hold on, that's what is happening, literally.
No, you said
So when-
you said that Grigson tried. I'm saying you can't try and have somebody get hurt and then be like,
No,
okay,
you're
I
you're
tried.
contradicting
This is
yourself.
Andrew Luck. No, I'm not,
100%.
because You said Grigson tried, and all he did was bring in offensive weapons. He
We
did not
drafted
bring in
Jack
the D line.
Muhort.
He didn't exactly. He did nothing on defense, bro. That is not trying. You cannot
Right.
sit here and tell me that you don't bring in no offensive linemen. You don't bring in no defense. But hey, I got you some offensive weapons, bro. I tried. I'm sorry you getting your back tackled and getting flipped over by the New Orleans Saints because we can't get you any linemen. That's not
He did.
trying, bro.
But here's
not
the
just
thing.
weapons for a
But here's the
quarterback.
thing. Here's the thing. Cincinnati is in the same fucking boat. Bad offensive line and a whole bunch of offensive weapons, and they're in the AFC Championship.
But he tried. He got weapons.
2 years in a
though.
row. 2 years in a row.
Grigson
His
didn't
weapons
try
hit.
nothing.
It's not his fault. It's not Ryan Griggson's fault that the dude went out and pursued weapons, and they didn't pan out in Indy.
Now
No,
hold on
see,
though.
I
'Cause
don't
some
blame
did.
him for-
Some did pan out. We got Ty. We got
Yeah.
Jack Doyle. They panned
Yeah.
out. Reggie Wayne was. He didn't bring in Reggie. I understand that, but Reggie Wayne was.
Fleener.
Like, it's not like we
Yeah,
didn't
Reggie.
have weapons.
He got
It's
Fleener.
the
Fleener.
moves he tried to make that didn't always pan out.
And then that was his trying. His trying was
Ahmad Bradshaw.
Hey, Andrew Luck, you got me 11 wins multiple times in a row. Let me just keep trying to throw shit more on your back rather than let me protect you. That's
fair.
not trying, bro. That's
I'm not saying it's not
going
wrong.
the
I'm
wrong way with
saying
it.
what I'm saying is that not everyone goes to pursue fucking offensive linemen every first 3 picks in the draft. Because that's what hold on. That's what everyone literally says.
No.
Everyone's like, shut the fuck up. Everyone literally says, dude, scroll through Twitter. You see that shit. The first thing on everyone's list on Twitter is left fucking guard or left tackle, right tackle. That's the first thing on everyone's list.
No, I'm not
Every
saying that.
goddamn year. No
No,
one
see-
looks at scheme. No one looks at how the offense is
Matt,
ran.
Matt, you're
None of
talking
that.
about everybody else. You're
Bro.
not talking about me. You're not talking about your boy. You're not talking about
But
me.
I'm not
I'm
arguing
saying-
with just
I'm
you.
saying-
I'm arguing with Colts fans. That's the point of the podcast.
Okay, well, put them aside right now. This is my your
Me and you are on the same page.
I'm saying that we can't say Grigson tried if he didn't go get some high quality offensive free agents.
All
on the
I'm saying-
offensive line and then
all
some
I'm
high
saying-
quality defensive guys.
All I'm
did
saying
not
is
do
Ryan Grigson is more successful as a GM than Chris Ballard.
And I
Based
say
on
that
wins
was
and-
all on and based on wins and losses. I say
Yeah,
that
based
was
on
all
wins and
on the back
losses, yeah,
of
but
Andrew Luck. If you give
not
Andrew
overall
Luck,
drafting.
if you
Yeah.
give the same amount of time to Andrew Luck with Chris Ballard versus the same amount of time that he had with Ryan Grigson,
a
Chris
Super
Ballard
Bowl.
would have like 60 more wins.
Hey,
no doubt
give-
in my mind.
Give Chris Ballard Chuck fucking Pagano. Be all right.
Maybe.
Okay,
Maybe.
so we agree. This is Andrew Luck. It's Andrew Luck. It's on him. It's on him.
I like Chuck Pagano as a coach.
I don't like Ryan
I didn't
Grigson.
like Ryan Grigson either, but I like Chuck Pagano.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, as long as we push Ryan Grigson off a cliff, we good.
Yo, Chad just said this, and this got me laughing. Y'all yelling and agreeing.
Hey, no, I'm
Hey, that's
loving
what we
this
do
right
here.
now. I love that one.
Shout out to Chad for watching
I
every
hope
week,
all
man.
Colts fans can watch that and see that point. I'm gonna try and get a clip of that there because hopefully I
My wife just yelled at me and told me to stop yelling. I can get my point across.
can.
Boys, I gotta bounce, but I think the key to fixing everything is just bringing Ryan Grigson back at this point, right?
No. Chuck Pagano.
Be the complete opposite.
Hey, it's been real.
Trade
real
all
fun.
3 first-round picks for a running back. That's all we need. I'm kidding. Being
Yeah.
facetious.
I will say that was stupid.
I was all in on Trent Richardson, bro, and then he came in blind. I was like, what the hell happened?
Bro, I've never seen such a blind running back in my life.
Me either. It was insane.
Well, Colts had one of Marlon Mack that first year. He couldn't see diddly poo. I was getting mad.
I think that was more from him being a late rounder and being more
Yeah.
inexperienced. That was something that he had to gain. But Trent Richardson was a first round running back. This was a highly touted guy. I mean, he went after RG3 and Andrew Luck. I mean, I thought we were going to be
Here-
legit with a run game.
To slide away from that a little bit, to think that Cleveland took Trent Richardson when they had Peyton Hillis was the weirdest thing I thought at that time. Because Peyton Hillis was even a
Oh,
stud.
yeah.
He was a
disappeared
stud.
he disappeared off the face of the earth after that good year that he had.
Won a Madden
Because
cover.
they drafted Trent, and it was just weird. It was just I don't know what happened to Peyton Hillis.
Yeah, he actually just recovered from drowning in a pool. He kind of had a coma or whatever.
Saving his kids. Yeah.
This kid, yeah, but I thought it was crazy to see just Trent Richardson just drop off the face of the earth. I honestly thought we were Super Bowl bound after getting him. I thought it was going to be good for us because just like I said, he wasn't drafting any offensive linemen. He didn't help us improve there outside of Costanzo, and I thought having a running game was really going to put us on another level. Getting Trent Richardson, I thought he was a good back. I thought we were going to come in. We had the number 1 overall pick and then the number 3 overall pick. I thought we were going to be legit.
So
And then Trent Richardson just running into his own lineman.
So I legit thought I didn't even care about Trent Richardson. It was later on. I thought that we were going to go to the Super Bowl when it was Frank Gore and Andre Johnson. I was a huge fan of Andre Johnson, even though he came from Houston. Everybody hates him, but you can't deny that the dude was your typical 2000 to 2010 type wide receiver. He was big
The
body,
possession receiver, great guy.
right?
He
And
was-
I thought that him paired up with T.Y. Hilton was just going to be a nasty combination with Frank Gore in the backfield.
He was washed.
I mean, but who would have known that, right? Because
No.
the year before he had a good year.
Yeah.
It's just
No one-
Houston's never been good when it came to off season and being able to re-sign who they need to re-sign, or you know what I'm saying? They've never been good at functioning.
Yeah.
So at that time, I thought Andre Johnson. I even have Andre Johnson's jersey because when we signed him, I was like, hell yeah! So I was hyped. And then Frank Gore, I have Frank Gore's jersey. It's just they didn't pan out. I mean, Frank Gore was one of our first running backs to hit 100 yards in a game.
in hella years because we were throwing Andrew Luck. I was happy to get Frank Gore. I thought he was going to be really good for us.
It wasn't hella years. It was like 2 years because Vic Ballard hit it.
Oh, against the Titans and that
before
game.
Vic Ballard got hurt.
Yeah,
Ballard was supposed to be that guy too.
We were barely ever running the ball. I remember that a lot. But yeah, I like Frank Gore with us, and I like the Andre Johnson move. That was just my thing, my complaint to Grigson, because it was like we were still getting Andrew Luck drilled all the time, and he's a linebacker playing quarterback, and I just thought like, hey, get some other pieces.
Here's my thing with that, right? Because Anthony Costanzo was with us for a long ass time.
Yeah.
So a lot of people only recognize him during the Frank Reich era, but nobody wants to recognize him. That the fact that he was here during the Chuck Pagano era, he was here during the Ryan Grigson era. Chris Ballard didn't go find him. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like
he was a Polian pick.
Yeah, he was the most important part of the offensive line outside of center, in my opinion. Because when you're a right-handed quarterback, the left tackle is important. When you're a left-handed quarterback, your right tackle is important. So we had the left tackle. Maybe we didn't have the other four. It's just my thing. The reason I say Ryan Grigson tried is because if you get the certain weapons that you get, right? He pursued Philip Dorsett, right? He drafted Philip Dorsett, who was a speedy guy, just like T.Y. Hilton. If you were able to have two speedy guys like that, he expected. This is me, right? Coming from a guy who studied sports management and studied personnel, things like that. This is why I argue this. When he drafted Philip Dorsett, the concept, the idea was, well, I didn't draft offensive line, so let's get the ball out quick. Route runner. You have speed, right? That was the point. That was where Ryan Grigson was going to go, and he failed. But if you look at Kansas City, right, and it's two different teams, but let's look at Kansas City. Kansas City did the same thing. They didn't have an offensive line. They didn't have a very good defense, but they had speed when it came to receivers. And then they had Patrick Mahomes, and they were able to get it done. And the reason they were able to get it done is because of the offensive scheme. So do we look at that Colts time frame, right? We look at the 2012 to the 2015. Do we look at that time frame as if was the issue the offensive scheme, or was it compared to what Ryan Grigson brought them?
Well, I'll say this. Grigson drafted Mewhort at left tackle and Ryan Kelly at center. The right guard and the right tackle were revolving doors. And Samson Satelli played right tackle afterwards and was garbage. But I think it was Luck's first year, BA was the offensive coordinator. And if you know anything about BA, Bruce Arians,
no biscuit.
Everything is like a 7-step drop in his system. And that requires a hell of a lot of time.
Yep.
Yeah, 7-step drop definitely does.
So he was getting killed his rookie year. And then on top of that, Pep Hamilton, everything was under center. And you're going to have a physical, aggressive offensive line. And that's something the Colts didn't have at the time.
Big facts.
I mean, so the two systems they were in, it worked against him. So I would say that's more so on Grigson and less on the system. I mean, Grigson spent the money, but he spent the money, in my opinion, wrong areas.
I just think it was more of the hiring, in my opinion, because what happened was we brought in Pep Hamilton because of his experience with Andrew Luck. But when you got to look at it, if you're not going to go offensive line, you got to look at a guy who's going to be able to get the ball out quick. If you look at Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid, they work so well at being able to get Patrick Mahomes out of the pocket, right?
But that's today's NFL.
But that was today's NFL 10 years ago with Andrew Luck. That's what it was. And we can thank Colin Kaepernick and Harbaugh for that, right? Because they introduced that style of offense.
Zone read system.
Yeah. So if you really look at it, it's really who was calling our offense at the time that Ryan Grigson was trying to bring those weapons to Andrew Luck. He thought that Andrew Luck had the ability to not get sacked, right? To not get hit as much, but it just kept backfiring on Ryan Grigson. I don't like Ryan Grigson. I'm not a fan of him.
Yeah, I just think his problem was he fell off from building a team once he got a quarterback. I think every GM's job, at that point is to find a quarterback and build a team, or to build a team and find a quarterback. I think his problem was he spent too much time trying to build on what the quarterback could do or what he wanted him to see him do, and that became the problem.
Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Chad, because Chad's been commenting this whole time. He's been loving the debate. He says Raymond is going to be a big part of offense next season. Another off season to train and OTAs and training camp, and he's going to be a stud. And I agree. I think we do have our left tackle in place. I also still think we have our left guard and center in place. What I don't think is that we have our right guard and right tackle in place.
Agreed.
I do. I don't think Smith goes anywhere. They paid him too much money. He's stuck.
I like Braden
I don't
Smith,
know.
but
I like him, but I think he needs to play better. So just like we talked about before,
Right.
I feel like he
I
needs
agree.
to elevate his level.
Yeah.
These guys need to be challenged. And I don't know whether that's like how they can challenge that contractually, physically, mentally, however they need to challenge them to get them play them at the level that they were supposed to be at. Because at this point right now, where we're at, the only thing we should need is a right guard.
Well, I don't hate Will Fries. He just got to get stronger. That's my only knock versus Will Fries was you bull rushed him. He was a dead man. But other than that, he held up in the run game and was fine against pass rushers. But I feel like if he continues to get, build his strength, hopefully the Colts get in a system that works for them, a system where they can go out and be aggressive and get leverage on, the defensive lineman first rather than scooting back and pass blocking. I think they'll be more successful.
Yeah, I mean that's going to depend on head coach and offensive coordinator. Quarterback, what we do there. Obviously, we're going to go young quarterback, so you're going to run the ball. But I still don't know if, regardless of Will Fry's strength to develop, I still don't know if he's going to be a starting caliber guy in year 2. I think
fair enough.
Year 3, so you might want to get a veteran to come in there and take that spot for him to continuously develop until he's needed. That way he's more quality depth.
So
No.
Chad asks, are you taking a right guard or a right tackle at 35?
I'm taking
No.
I want a corner at 35.
I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%.
We got to get younger at corner. I mean, Gilmore is only 1 year left on his contract. We do have Isaiah Rodgers, who's going to be in a contract year. We got to re-sign him. Kenny Moore is likely out and going to be traded. We're done with Faison, so I mean, I would go corner at 35.
Okay. Dan Knight asks, I like the right guard from Notre Dame. He doesn't know the spelling.
Yeah, I'm not taking a right guard at 35. I'm not taking a corner at 35 because I think they'll address that in the offseason. I'm loading up offensively. I'm adding another receiver. I'm adding another weapon. Somebody who just – again, I'd rather have more weapons than not.
But,
I'd rather make it.
I feel like you're kind
but
of.
here's the thing. So this is a thing. We have to remember that the new league year starts before the draft. So
January
at the
3rd.
same point, yeah. No, it's not January.
No, March 3rd. My bad.
Yeah,
bad.
it's definitely in March.
Sorry.
So March, the new league year starts, and that's when free agency kicks off. So we have to remember where Chris Ballard, whoever, goes to pursue what kind of weapons we get, because
William
free agency
Jackson
is-
from Washington.
what?
William Jackson from Washington.
Now are we
He was
talking
trash
college
with the
or-
Bengals. He was trash with the Bengals.
Or no, he was with Pittsburgh this last season. No, because he didn't fit there.
And then he went to Washington and I guess got pissed at Washington and they released him and he went to
But
Pittsburgh.
he got paid. He
Yeah.
went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I'll take
I mean,
All right.
I don't know. I just look at it like I would prefer go D line. You can never have enough pass rushers. So at 35, Go D line, go corner, go safety.
So
Like,
that's where I'm against you, because our defense has been fine. I would not go defensive line in the top 3 at all. Corner, I'm definitely going. I agree with that. Whether it's the second round or the third round, I'm going corner because of the youth compared to what we are at age. If we want to move from Kenny Moore, we need to be able to find who we're going to replace Kenny Moore with. If, Stephon Gilmore, if we're going to keep Stephon Gilmore, I think he's actually on a multi-year contract. So
This is
if Stephon Gilmore is going to be here, so why not pull in a corner who has youth, who has the talent to be able to learn from Stephon Gilmore?
exactly.
But I'm also at the same time where, do we go, I am a guy who's okay with going offensive line on the second round. Why? Because I think that a young quarterback is going to need to have trust in who's blocking for him. That's just me. Left tackle, we're good. Left guard, we're good. I personally think we're good at center. I think we're good with Brayton Smith, but that right guard spot is important. I'm good with going right guard in that position. I'm also good with going a DB in second round. The reason I'm good with going corner in the second round, like we've all talked about already, and I'm kind of rambling around in circles, but safety, I think we're good with Nick Cross.
it's hard. It's early to tell. I think he needs more snaps.
It is early to tell.
You got to play to get better.
Yeah, he needs more playing time.
We had somebody else there. Can't think of his name.
That Thomas dude,
Rodney
he's stud.
Rodney Thomas. Rodney Thomas. I think Rodney Thomas is the one that's going to hold down that starting position next year, because I think McLeod is contemplating retirement.
Well, I'll say this. I feel like you can move on Kenny Moore now, because Blackman, he can play corner. You just got to draft either his replacement.
Put Blackman at corner.
Dude, he was badass in the nickel. Like, he was so good in the nickel, DeMarco.
I wouldn't do it. I'd rather play our guy, our kick returner. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Isaiah Rodgers?
No. I mean, we could put Rodgers there, but I'd rather.
Are you talking Davis?
No.
Dallas Flowers.
Dallas Flowers. Him. I'd rather put him in the nickel. And,
really?
See, I would put him. So me, basically, what I would do is I would have Stephon Gilmore, right? And you either got I would bring in the veteran William Jackson, put Isaiah Rodgers in the nickel so he can finally start. Isaiah Rodgers has the nickel and the versatility to be able to play the nickel. Then you want to draft a rookie to be able to learn from a guy like William Jackson, a veteran, and our guy Gilly as a veteran. And the thing why I said with you is why I said you were contradicting yourself with a second round receiver to go there is because of the fact that you and Damon have been big on wanting to get big time playmakers at receiver. And if you go with a second round receiver in a draft where receivers are not at a premium, these guys are not the 2020 draft or 2019 draft. These are not those type of guys. So I wouldn't necessarily go there. And so, like Matt was saying, I guess I could get comfortable with the right guard if it's like a tackle from a big school, or Osiris Torrance from Florida, the highest rated guard in the country. One of those guys at guard.
He's a first round pick.
He could be a first round pick, but I'm just saying that's one of those guys that I could feel comfortable at guard. But me, preferably, I'm going to get younger at corner because we are losing a lot of pieces at corner over this offseason.
Right.
So I personally like Flowers. Everyone keeps saying Flowers in the comments. I personally like Flowers at returner.
I mean, I like him at returner too, but my thing is him or Isaiah Rodgers at nickel to get some playing time. That's one of those positions where I see where they can go, where we don't have to just throw a rookie in there. But even then, if you draft good at rookie, these guys can start from the jump. Look at the way Seattle draft rookies. They got a second or a third rounder and a fifth rounder starting at corner, and they were legit all year.
Yeah, that's Pete Carroll's forte.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, that's what he's about. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not against it. I just look at it as in, like, defensively, that's probably our weakest position. I mean, offensively, outside of quarterback, I mean, I just look at it like add as much talent as possible on that side of the ball and let and sort it out yourself. But defensively, my philosophies are corner, and you can never have enough pass rushers. So draft them, add them, sign them. I don't care what you do to them, but you do that, and I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, and Dan Knight adds to that. He says Rodgers should be starting that corner. Dan, we all agree there was some major favoritism towards Brandon Faison.
Faison, yeah.
So he for sure should have been getting a lot more playing time than he got this year.
That's facts. We've been saying it. We were saying it all season that Rodgers should be starting over Faison.
All year. So yeah, that's Chad, that's where we would probably go at 35. It seems like most of us are in agreement here. Me and Zach are a little bit off on guard at 35. But me and Matt did say corner or guard there. You could go there. Zach was kind of thinking a little bit more receiver. But I think those are three positions that we do got a little special coming from you guys that we'll kind of put that together and see what our needs are to go at 35 to go corner, guard, receiver. What are we looking for there? That'll be something for us to put together for you guys. But love that question. Keep them coming. Appreciate you guys for that. Yeah, guys. So that's kind of where I sit, though. I just think corner is like one of our bigger needs there. So I think that's why I'm more with that idea for 35. But hey, like Matt said, if we're going rookie quarterback, he'd like to come in with a rookie buddy to pretty much hold his hands for the years, just like Andrew Luck came in with Costanzo. And go guard at 35. I honestly wouldn't be mad at a GM wanting to protect his quarterback better.
Not at all. All right, everybody. Again, we appreciate everybody coming out. This has been definitely a good, eventful night.
Hell yeah. We had some debates tonight, baby.
It was definitely some good debates, and I can't wait until next Saturday when we debate who wins the Super Bowl.
Wait. I thought you were going to be out that weekend.
Ooh.
We're off the next 2 weekends.
So next weekend's
no one cares.
So next weekend's the Pro Bowl. So the weekend after that. So if y'all do next weekend, that's fine. We'll discuss that on the side. But the week after that, I gotta be on before the Super Bowl. I don't know what you're talking about. Next weekend, I'll be off. I got some gender reveal for baby coming along. Let's hope for that boy. You know what I'm saying? My daughter, right, has been calling me Daddy Rudder all day, because my wife didn't take my last name, so my kids go by Posey, and I told her this morning, I was like, no, you're Posey Rudder, and she was like, what? It kind of blew her mind. I was like, yeah, my last name's Rudder. My last name's not Posey. And she started laughing. She started calling me Daddy Rudder all day. I was like, man, chill out. I appreciate that, Dan. But yeah, so next week I might not be here. It depends on what time I get back. I might hop on late. But I will be.
We'll see if the rest of the crew wants to get on. I'm pretty sure I will be more than likely available. I will check with Zach and the guys and see.
I won't be. It's my anniversary with my old lady.
Zach won't be. But so. We've got new intros. We've got new outros. We're working on things on the side to make this cool and fun and all different types of things. If you guys noticed the new Bengals versus Chiefs thing that I brought up, and then the Eagles versus 49ers, I literally did that while me and Zach were sitting in here 10 minutes before. I found some cool graphics and things and just kind of put it all together real fast.
Yep, and we'll even check with Trev and Damon and see if either of them want to hop on. If not, I'll see if maybe I got enough time. I'll do a show with just you guys. If I got enough comments in the sections, whatnot, we'll see how it goes. We'll talk throughout the week, and we'll see for you guys to see if we can get something going or not before the Super Bowl. That way we don't completely. I guess we will have the Saturday before
before the Super Bowl. We'll definitely be on. I'll definitely be here.
Yeah, so we'll have 2 shows before then, so we'll see about next week, but for sure the week after that.
And just to give you guys a little bit of a future idea of what we're going to be doing, so we're going to start doing one a month of a war room style, Kicking with the Crew war room. This was DeMarco's idea. What we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to discuss prospects, who we're going to take at 1, 2, 3. I'm pretty sure we're going to get further into it later on. We're going to discuss how far
Yeah,
we're going to go
hopefully
into
we
the
can
draft.
get all the guys, and we'll try and go all the way to 7. Hopefully.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago we didn't do all 7. I think we did the first couple, but free
Like, are
agency.
we doing like as a team or like who I would
doing it as
pick
a
in
team.
my
No,
set?
War Room as a team.
War
We're
Room
gonna
as a
come
team.
Together. We're gonna come together, put together our picks. We'll kind of put together our needs on the side and see what we think is our need, and then who we think is the best player available, who we have on the board, and then make our picks there.
So look at it
We'll
as
on a first pick, as our first pick as quarterback. We'll come together with that one, and then go down the rest of the draft and kind of jump to each person.
So look at it as instead of a Colts War Room, it's going to be a Kicking with the Crew War Room. So day one, boom, it's our War Room. That's what we're going to do.
We're horseshoe Kicking with the Crew War Room.
Yep, we're going to do one episode a month for that up until the draft. So hopefully we can do what I want to do is So what I want to do is the first one is going to be round 1 because that's the most important. And then we'll probably maybe hit round 2 or round 3. We'll discuss how we do that. But
I was gonna say mock 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, we'll figure all that out because we're gonna do a couple months leading up. We'll also hit FA, and then afterwards, what we like to do is we like to do our own seasonal predictions once the schedules come out. We did that a couple years ago, and it was pretty interesting. It took us I don't remember how long it took us. I think it took us a few weeks.
And then also for you guys, we will try and come with some live stuff. Me and Matt been talking about it. Hopefully, I think Zach will be available. Maybe I know he's pretty busy with work and whatnot, but hopefully we can start coming to you guys with some live updates. As far as like when we get to free agency and whatnot, come with some breaking news and live action. Don't be scared if you guys see us in different stuff. I'm gonna be wearing red for work. If that pops up and we get to that situation, but hopefully we want to give you guys live stuff as it comes in.
Yeah.
Having to wait because I just kind of see something as I'm working and scrolling, and then boom, I jump over in the media and I start trying to share it out. So
be prepared to see me in some Army uniform because if I get an update that we hire a head coach and I'm at the office, I'm hopping on StreamYard, I'm going live, and I'm going to talk about it. So be prepared to hop up in the comments. I'll probably find DeMarco or Zach or somebody to hop in with me, so I'm not alone. But
I'm covered in oil, so probably not.
So I don't care if you're covered in oil. Come on in.
As long as you're not on slip and slide.
I'm covered in oil usually with glasses on, so highly unlikely, but we'll see.
And then again, remember, always follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. We're on all of those.
And please, if any of you guys do watch YouTube, please just go to the channel, Kicking with the Crew, apostrophe after kick, apostrophe in with the crew. Like and subscribe. It'll help us in the algorithm. And get us shared across to different people.
Same thing on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
And it'll just make us bigger and more noticeable for you guys. We appreciate you guys, we really do. But if you guys can do that, if you use YouTube, that would be awesome.
Yes, sir. And it is always, I don't care who wins tomorrow, it will always, forever and ever be Go Colts.
Always.
Go Colts.
Always.
He is going to drop the throw. Fires deep along the right sideline for Alec Pierce.
He's got it! Touchdown! Touchdown!